Congressman Doug Collins of Georgia chimed in on the debate back and forth about the fallout from Trump's taking out of Qasem Soleimani in Iran, and also the War Powers Act vote that the House conducted. But in some of the things he was saying, which we'll get to in a second, he's had to apologize for comments where he was targeting Democrats, saying that they're in love with terrorists. Let's first listen to what he had said originally.
Nancy Pelosi does it again, and her Democrats fall right in line. One, they're in love with terrorists. We see that. They mourn Soleimani more than they mourn our Gold Star families, who are the ones who suffered under Soleimani. That's a problem.
So after that all went down, many people came out in opposition to those comments, which we've heard that echoed from other folks on the Republican side of the aisle. But there was a series of tweets that Doug Collins came forward with to make sure that he cleared up the air about what he really meant. So he started by saying, "Let me be clear. I do not believe Democrats are in love with terrorists," despite the fact that he just said it. "And I apologize for what I said earlier this week." He continued on, "The comment I made on Wednesday evening was in response to a question about the War Powers Resolution being introduced in the House and the House Democrats' attempt to limit the president's authority. As someone who served in Iraq in 2008, I witnessed firsthand the brutal death of countless soldiers who were torn to shreds by this vicious terrorist. Soleimani was nothing less than an evil mastermind who viciously killed and wounded thousands of Americans. I promise we're almost done. Those images will live with me for the rest of my life, but that does not excuse my response on Wednesday evening. And lastly, I remain committed to working with my colleagues in Congress and with my fellow citizens to keep all Americans safe," he says. Some of the people that potentially pushed him to go this route was Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. She was asked about it I believe on CNN, and she had this to say.
"I'm not going to dignify that with a response. I left parts of my body in Iraq fighting terrorists. I don't need to justify myself to anyone."
I want to ask you, when he brings up Gold Star families and they become sort of like a pawn in this political discourse.
I'm disgusted. I will never, ever use Gold Star families, military men and women, or their families as any pawn in any political game. Let me tell you something. This issue is about America's national security. It is not a partisan political issue.
So of course we did hear him apologize, see him tweet his apology. I don't believe I've seen him on TV yet, voicing his apology. But if you thought it sounded familiar, there was a couple other figures on the Republican side of the aisle that also had this to say that was very similar to what Collins said.
It was a classic Donald Trump speech. And you know what? The Democrats not only are all those things, they also support terrorists, apparently, because so many of them think that killing Soleimani was a terrible idea. It's crazy to hear, but that's where they are. They've really gotten so far off the rails, Stuart. I think it will be an easy choice for people in 2020.
You don't see anyone standing up for Iran. You're not hearing any of the Gulf members. You're not hearing China. You're not hearing Russia. The only ones that are mourning the loss of Soleimani are our Democrat leadership and our Democrat presidential candidates. No one else in the world, because they knew that this man had evil veins.
So real fast, before we open it up, his aide, also Doug Collins' aide, did give some background as to why he decided to apologize. It wasn't necessarily just Duckworth come forward, but his aide said that the apology came after he took a step back and saw how his comments about Democrats and terrorists had come off. Leadership didn't talk to him about it. No, Republican leadership did not talk to him about it, but he felt like it was something he needed to do. The aide also said that his remarks, the Democrats were in love with terrorists, had come from a place of emotion. And when he took a step back and thought about how the comments had affected his Democratic colleagues, he felt like he had to apologize. The aide also lastly said that it was not about Duckworth alone, but about his Democratic colleagues as a whole. Are you guys accepting this apology?
Yeah, so first of all, in the beginning when he said it seemed like he was not going to apologize, he said, "Oh, misspoke, it came out wrong or something." I was gonna be like, hell no. No, but he did actually apologize. So why? Let's cut to the chase. It ain't Tammy Duckworth, it ain't the Democrats. He called out saying that they were in love with terrorists because they voted for the War Powers Act to be enforced by Congress and take away some authority from the president. But so did some Republicans like Matt Gaetz. So then he has to turn around and say, "Oh yeah, Matt Gaetz loves terrorists. I can't do that. That's my buddy who's massive right winger, along with a couple other Republicans in the House." And then now there are a couple of senators, Republican senators in the Senate saying, "We agree with Gaetz and the others, Mike Lee, Rand Paul." So when it touches other Republicans, they're like, oh, I didn't mean it, man. Sorry, yeah. So I think that's actually what happened here. Now, remember when Nikki Haley said it, for example, at that point, no Republicans were on that side. So the Democrats were mad. It didn't make any difference at all. Nikki Haley never apologized. And by the way, I have to note for the record, every time she 100% lied, the Chinese and the Russians did not agree with our killing of Soleimani and were fairly livid over it. She said, oh, they like it. Yeah, you're a liar. And no one in the media will correct you except us, so I'll do it. You can check it yourself, you can Google it, you can do anything you like. The Russians and the Chinese are mad. Also, there are no such thing as evil veins. They're like, oh, the brilliant, moderate Nikki Haley. No, she's an idiot and a warmonger. But you look, for me, I never think the Democrats do it right in terms of their rhetoric in situations like this. So Tammy Duckworth did a great job, and that what she said was very powerful. But they're always asking for an apology. They're always saying that oh my God, don't say that bad stuff about us. No, I go over the top. You know what? Collins is un-American. And why? Because it's in the US Constitution that Congress authorizes war. And that's what that vote was about, Congress authorizing war. In fact, even Matt Gaetz said, look, if we're gonna send our troops to fight those wars and they have the courage to do that, we ought to have the courage to vote on it as the Constitution dictates. I know broken clocks right twice a day, but hey, I'll take it. Credit where credit is due. I can't stand Matt Gaetz. I've called him a brown shirt. I've called him every name in the book, and he is one of the most right-wing guys in Congress without any doubt. But he's right on this one, and the reality is when guys like Doug Collins say that Congress should abdicate their constitutional duty, that's an un-American thing for Collins to say. So don't just ask for an apology, go punch him in the mouth rhetorically.
Yeah, I have a question. So when the Republicans and the Democrats vote for the president and the Republicans win and the president becomes the president, is he not the president of those Democrats as well?
Yeah, well, that's the way it's supposed to work, and that's what the Democrats say after they win every single time. Okay, so and the Republicans go, Democrats, yeah, whatever, we're gonna own them, man. We're gonna own the libs, blah. But
the congressmen, or these Congress people, they are so offensive to their Democratic constituents, like constantly insulting them. Like when I hear him saying that the Democrats love terrorists, well, I know he's talking about politicians, but I just feel like these people have lost the way of what they're supposed to be doing as public officials and servants, because that's what they are. They take these positions of superiority amongst the people that they're supposed to be representing, and they're supposed to be on the ground with the people and the voice of the people. But so when I hear him say this, and I watched him, no, your apology is not accepted because the apology is motivated by something else other than your conscience. But this whole idea, people get mad at me because I employ empathy when it comes to the people who support Donald Trump that are not wealthy and that are on the ground, that are poor and don't realize that they are being puppeted. It is a constant daily insult of the intelligence of the people who support this party. It is offensive. And those people should not only be, they should be offended that every day somebody is insulting them. They're trying to trigger them emotionally. They're trying to trigger them with fear and hate, and really think that they are so dumb that all they care about is fighting people of color, and it just makes them seem like savages. And so when I hear those people talking to them, I'm like, I'm so glad they don't like me. Call me smug if you want, because I think that having a high EQ does not make me smug. Knowing that murdering innocent people is not going to improve humanity in any way. Just lace the pockets of the people who hate me.
Okay, so one last thing about that. So look, under this idiotic Republican talking point, including by Lara Trump, well, okay, that guy's a bad guy, so we have the right to kill him, and it's a smart thing to do. And once we kill him, if you object, then you like bad guys. Yes. Okay, well, first of all, let's remember that's the exact ideology they used to start the worst foreign policy mistake in American history, the Iraq War. Oh, Saddam's a bad guy. Oh, are you for Saddam, Democrats? Now they all pretend to be against the Iraq War. Donald Trump pretends that he was against the Iraq War. Wait, and so what happened? Because you realize, oh, oops, we screwed up. That was a total disaster. All those people died, including our troops, for no reason at all. And we've sunk $4 trillion into those wars. But now here we are again in Iran. They do the same exact stupid talking point. Now imagine if we did that in North Korea. Now, if we assassinated Kim Jong-un and started a war, then the North Koreans could easily kill 1 million people in South Korea and Japan, and a lot of our troops that are stationed there.
Lots.
Right? And then after 1 million innocent civilians died, to Ida's point, then they say, oh, well, are you for North Korea? Are you for Kim Jong-un? Oh, the Democrats are for dictators like Kim Jong-un. Yeah, it's an interesting talking point. It's a terrible, stupid talking point, but 1 million people are dead either way. So no, just because someone's a bad guy, a terrorist or a dictator doesn't mean you necessarily kill him or assassinate him. And the people who think that way are simplistic buffoons like Lara Trump, Doug Collins, and Nikki Haley. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.